Yeah, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. There's a film I wasn't sure on reviewing since I know it does have two sequels that I have zero interest in. I don't care about 10 Cloverfield Lane. I don't care about the Cloverfield Paradox. But I do enjoy this film, which I had a review up a long time ago, but it got taken down because of copyright. But Cloverfield I saw back in the day in 2008. Saw it in the theater, quite enjoyed it. I remember the marketing behind this. I believe the first Transformers film in the summer of 2007 had a teaser for this. It was very mysterious, and people were like, what is this movie? Is it a new Godzilla film? Is it a Voltron film? Like, there was all these guesses, and maybe it's this, maybe it's that. None of them were true. It was just a found footage monster movie that came out in January, did fairly well. As you can tell, some critics seem to enjoy it. Now, I have issues, a couple film... If I learn how to talk. Some issues with the film. The CGI doesn't hold up the best. It's not a $100 million budgeted film. It is from over 10 years ago. So, sometimes the CGI is a bit questionable. Mainly though, the two things for me, the two big ones, the shaky cam, it's a bit too much. I could see it giving some people seasickness or headache inducing migraines. And the ending, not really big on the ending. With that said though, I do quite enjoy the flick. I love the idea of a found footage monster movie. That point of view being such a small ant compared to this gigantic thing wrecking the city, and you're right in the middle of it. And I gotta say, for the budget it has, it does create quite a spectacle that is impressive in my opinion. I like the look and design of the creature. I like the design of the Cloverfield monster. It sucks that the sequels don't really do much with it. I know it technically has an appearance in the third film at the very end because of blah blah blah. The second film really has nothing to do with it other than the name. I don't even know why it's titled that. I would prefer a straightforward sequel, Cloverfield 2, another, whether found footage movie or not, just another movie with this monster in it. In fact, I would be fine with a found footage monster film. Or hell, if you don't want found footage, do it in the vein of Hardcore Henry, where it's a person's point of view. Just, you don't need a camera or anything, just a point of view. And they're dealing with this situation. I would have preferred that over the stuff they did afterward, but that's just me. But I thought the cast did a good job. You had Michael Stahl-David, who I believe played our lead character, Rob. He's getting ready to go overseas because he has a new job. There's this girl that he's sort of in love with, and they had sex weeks ago, and then they're not sure whether they should be friends, and they have a little bit of fight, and this is amongst the surprise party that's given to him by all his friends and his brother. His brother is played by Mike Vogel, who I believe was in the Chainsaw Massacre remake. And the guy holding the camera for the majority of the film is a character named Hud, who's our main character's best friend. And Hud is played by T.J. Miller. This is a guy who was Deadpool's buddy in the Deadpool films. And I thought he did better here, because I enjoy the Deadpool films, but one of the critiques I have is T.J. Miller's not as funny as I think he should be, because I saw him in this, and I went, he's a lot funnier in this movie. Maybe it's because he's not so much of the cool, wise-ass sarcastic. He's more of the buddy who has some fun comments and moments, but you can tell he's nervous and scared at the same time. So his character seems a bit more relatable in this film compared to his work in the Daredevil flicks. But I really like his character of Hud. Some of the dialogue he spouts out, like even during the party, he's been told to keep the secret that two of our main characters have had sex, and so he just blabs into everybody, hey, did you know this happened? Hey, did you know this happened? But amongst this party, what seems like an earthquake happens, and they go up to the top of the building, and they see an explosion in the distance. And they figure they gotta get the fuck out of Dodge, and by the time they get to the ground, This thing is thrown at a building, bounces off, and slides in front of them, and is the Statue of Liberty head. Which that was what I remember the teaser being in front of two Transformers in the previous summer of 2007. I was like, what is this? Idea people thought it'd be a Godzilla movie, or is it a Voltron and that's the villain, or just all sorts of stuff. Wild theories. But it definitely gives you a sense of spectacle with the being, you know, the point of view of this, all this craziness and chaos happening throughout the city. It definitely, for the budget it had, shows you a chaos of a city if something like this were to happen. And riots everywhere, fire, people screaming everywhere, trying to get over this bridge, and something hits the bridge and it goes all fucked up and crazy. Get into the middle of the military fighting this creature, and you see bits of the creature. It doesn't show you the creature full force until very much the ending of the film. And I thought that was a nice touch, a nice idea, because it's kind of like, what is that? What is it? Wait, what's that? See little bits and pieces on the TV, or you see it from up top of this angle, looking at it as going across, being fired at, trying to escape over here, or its foot's crushing stuff here, and it's going past here. I like the design of the creature. I really do like the design of the Cloverfield monster. And, you know, granted, I said before the special effects might not hold up the best, but they don't bother me as much as probably other people, because for 2008 and the budget they had, I thought they're pretty damn solid for what they had, and what kind of movie they were making. I've seen so much worse in movies that are much newer and much more expensive. So, but my two main complaints is a bit too shaky, headache-inducing at times, and the ending's not really satisfying to me, at least to me. But I like I said, the design of the creature, the Cloverfield monster. I like that you see bits and pieces building up to when you finally get the best look you can get of the monster. Being different parts of the city where you're dealing with the military, or you're going over the bridge, or there's a point you go under in the tunnels. I thought this was a nice addition. Instead of just having the monster, there's also these little creatures that fall off of it that will skitter and try to attack you. And if they bite you, I thought for PG-13 is a bit intense. One of the friends get bit, and they start bleeding. The eyes start bleeding, and the military, she's been bit, she's been bit. They take her, and through shadow, through a silhouette, you see an explosion, and then an explosion of blood, and you can pretty much guess what happens. And yeah, for PG-13, a little bit graphic, but I'm like, ooh, that's an interesting idea. And I thought a fairly intense sequence. And again, I appreciate the spectacle with the budget, with the format they were using that was created, and it really felt like a big movie, like a much bigger movie than its budget dictates. And yeah, I just like that idea of a found footage, big monster movie. And I know the producer's J.J. Abrams, which is one of the few things he was a part of that's decent in my opinion. Because J.J. Abrams, I think, is overrated. But again, he produced this film. He got the idea of making the film because him and his son were overseas, I think in Japan, I think in Tokyo actually, where every store they went to seemed like there was a Godzilla toy. It's like, hey, we should have our own Godzilla. Well, it didn't really become our Godzilla because you would make a lot of films with this creature to maybe be a new Godzilla. Again, I would have preferred a Cloverfield 2. But again, that's not what we got. We got bullshit. I don't give a fuck about... I like John Goodman, but I don't need to see a crazy John Goodman for 80 minutes. And then that's pretty much it for a sequel to Cloverfield. I'm sorry, I think that's horseshit. I don't care what other people say. The third one sounds like a huge piece of shit. Like, for some reason, even though this brought success and good critical notices, they just decided to go the opposite direction in the sequel. I don't understand that, but whatever. But also, the movie's fairly short. Watching it again, it's a fairly short film. The movie is only an hour and 24 minutes. But that's because, like, 11 minutes of this film is end credits. Seriously. So when you watch it, it's only like an hour and 13 minutes. Very short film. So that's why I don't find it boring at all. Not at all. In fact, I would have preferred a bit more to the film. Be a little bit longer. But yeah, like I said, like the design of the creature, the effects for the time. Yeah, I was kind of dogging on it a little bit. They don't hold up, but for the time, I thought they're fine for the time it was made. The idea, I liked the cast, the characters I was fine with. In particular, I liked HUD, T.J. Miller's character behind the camera. He had some funny lines of dialogue. I liked the idea of the little smaller creatures that bite you and fucking explode after a certain amount of time. Also, I liked the music at the very end credits, because the movie doesn't have a score. It just uses music that's from the surroundings, or a radio, or TV, or something. But at the very end, during the end credits, there is a score. I think it's a really good score. I don't know if this says who did it here. No, it's not. But the guy who did the score was really good. It really did bring a feel of the Godzilla music. Especially the piece like da 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 da. I'm doing a shitty job of it, but very nice overture. I think it's called the Cloverfield Overture. Pretty solid piece of music. The ending, it bugs me because it's one of those found footage films where pretty much everyone dies. Granted, one of them does make it out of the helicopter. But our main characters, like, it just makes it seem as if the journey was completely pointless. Like, the whole journey is this guy trying to get to his girlfriend who's trapped. The friends go with him. And what was it for? They get there, they get the girl, they leave, they get in a helicopter. She gets in one. This was the girlfriend of the lead character's brother. She makes it out. And then she's the one who dies from the being bitten and exploding. So our two lovey-dovey characters who finally back together again. And the guy I like the most behind the camera, HUD, all three of them die, and it's like, what for? It kind of makes you go, wow, this was pointless. Should have just left, or should have just got out of Dodge, or like, it just kind of makes it. I know people will say, well, you can't end every movie happy ever after. I know. Maybe I wouldn't be bothered if at least HUD, that guy, made it out alive. And... or maybe if the couple made it alive and HUD was by himself and then it was his final moments. I don't know, I feel like a bit more of a, I don't know if I want to say reward, but a bit more of a, oh, this was there was a good reason of doing this. Sort of a morality play of, okay, there has to be a good reason to go and try and get your girl and against all odds. And it's, at the end of the day, it's like, nope, not really. morally it was right, but you got fucked over, so what does that say about morals? Don't go for your girlfriend, because it doesn't matter, you don't die, because you and your girlfriend are going to get covered in rubble with the Superman of cameras. Which, I mean, that's a nitpick, but that's another technical thing about the movie. The camera, you kind of have to leave your brain at the door, perhaps, with these kind of movies. But the camera, I don't know if cameras do this, where if you tape something over it, bits and pieces of the film will leak out. Because this is supposed to be footage that was recovered, and you're viewing the footage that I guess has been edited together by some unknown person. And then once in a while, that footage was taped over from something weeks ago where the couple was in Coney Island. And I don't know if cameras really do that. Maybe it does. The other thing is, how the hell did this camera survive a rubble? Plus, the big blast that was supposed to take out all of Manhattan, but this camera survived. You have the Superman of cameras. And maybe that's another thing is, I remember after this film came out, oh, look at all these clues. Like the very final scene when it shows flashback, kind of. I say kind of because it's a piece of footage from weeks ago where the couple's at Coney Island and there's a shot of the ocean and you see like a little teeny thing, a little splash. And like, oh, maybe that's how the monster arrived. And like, oh, there's all these little clues. But so what? What's the point of the clues? You did nothing with it because you made a sequel that had nothing to do with the first film other than the name. And the third film was like, oh, the monster's at the end. And I guess this is how the monster came about, but then people are like, well, wait a minute, but that doesn't make sense because of this, and it's confusing. You just confuse everybody, and people discombobulate, and people call horseshit. So. But with those, for me, flaws aside, I'll repeat, I like the fast pace. It's a short film. I like the cast, especially T.J. Miller. I thought the score at the very end credits were nice to listen to. The look of the creature I quite enjoyed. The spectacle of being up close and personal with all this chaos around the monster movie. Was that something you, even to this day, you see a tremendous amount of? You definitely didn't at the time. Because in 2008, there were now a lot of like big monster movies being made. More now, because you had Rampage, the 2014 Godzilla, the Godzilla vs. King Kong coming in the future, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Pacific Rim 2. You had a lot more, but in 2008, there was not a lot of big monster movies, so I remember that being a very, oh yes, something. And at the end of the day, it was entertaining. It's an entertaining film to watch. It looked good on Blu-ray, looked good on HD. Does have a couple features about the making of the film. Commentary by director Matt Reeves, didn't really give a shit about it. But then does have a making of, a couple other little features about the effects. Alternate endings that really mean nothing. There's not much difference to it. Overall, I think it's still a solid film. Good film, in my opinion. Like I said, my top 10 favorite found footage movies. This is on the list. But yeah, not sure what else I can say other than had a good time in the theater back in 2008 and had a good time rewatching it now. So, Cloverfield, I'm still a fan of. I wish they had done sequels more like this and not going off fucking kilter and whatever the hell they decided to do. I don't understand, but whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. I'm guessing they did that because by that time people were negative on Cloverfield. They're like, whatever. There's some people like, oh shit, we want to do a sequel because of the name, but people don't like the found footage aspect. And let's go a completely different route, but just use the name for shits and giggles. It's like, what? Then what do I know? But thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.